Be honest, are you terrible at Deadlock? I understand that's a haunting question, but if you keep blaming your teammates or saying that the enemy comp is overpowered, then you're just never going to get better. Now, Deadlock can definitely feel haunting at first. There's a lot to take in between abilities, objectives, lanes, and systems that are difficult to understand. But the game isn't unfair. It's just that every small decision you make matters, and the players who understand which decisions matter the most start to pull ahead and fast. So in today's video, I'll be breaking down Deadlock's entire economy, how to earn it, how to spend it, and how to use it without tunnel visioning on it. The most important thing to understand is that Deadlock is not just a shooter. It's a MOBA that has an economy, and so while your aim and movement does matter, so does other aspects like your pressure, your itemization, your positioning, and your farming. Before we jump straight into the complexities, let's first break down the 5 basics that Deadlock has, being souls, boons, items, jungle, and objectives, and a little overview of them in case you don't fully understand them yet. Souls are at the core of your progression. They're how you grow, and then the currency that you spend in order to get stronger. Items are one of the ways that you turn those souls into real power. Boons are your traditional level system. They're the stat boosts that you get from collecting souls. Jungle, and denying the enemy's jungle, is how you control the map economy and the tempo of the game. And objectives are where that power turns into real actual progress. Your guardians, your walkers, mid-boss, and the soul urn. So now that we have the fundamentals out of the way, let's break it down by each stage of the game. Probably the most important stage of the game is your laning. If you have a decent lane, then it usually translates to the rest of the game. But just because you lose a lane doesn't mean that the game is over. So when the game starts, what should you do? During the laning stage, your goals are pretty simple. Put pressure onto the enemy, never miss a wave, aim to take nearby camps whenever possible, and take nearby boxes and golden statues whenever possible. Pushing waves and creating lane pressure is probably the most important concept even after the laning stage. The more waves you get, the more souls you get, the more pressure you put onto the enemy, and the more control of the map you have. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves just yet. The first significant event that you should pay attention to comes at the 2-minute mark, where you should aim to take the nearby tier 1 camp that spawns almost immediately. Clear the enemy wave as fast as possible, then go take these. This gives you about 126 souls, which is a little more than half of what you get from a full wave of troopers. If your lane does not have a tier 1 camp, then you should go take the boxes and golden statues instead, or fight for the enemy's tier 1 camp. Now, these small advantages may seem, well, small, but I promise you they will add up throughout the match. So you should aim to get as many small advantages over your opponent as possible. Aim to always be efficient with your time, because any moment that you're not gaining an advantage is a moment that your opponent is gaining one instead. The second significant event that happens during the laning stage is at the 5-minute mark, where the bridge buff spawns. These buffs respawn about every 5 minutes and are different depending on which one you get, but you should almost always go for these if you can, because they're basically equivalent to having an extra item or two over your opponent. Push your wave hard around the 4-minute 30-second mark and then go get these buffs. The third event that you should make note of is at the 8-minute mark, where the center sacrifices and tier 3 camps spawn in the game. And I see a lot of people completely ignore this, even though they're extremely important. As soon as the centers spawn, you should go for them no matter which hero you are. The math behind it can get a little boring, but just know that for every centers you gain, you're effectively adding 336 souls of value to your team, plus 4 buffs to yourself. And each one you deny from the enemy is effectively denying 672 souls worth of value, meaning you can gain a crazy early advantage really fast just through taking as many centers as you can. The trick for the laning stage is in between you pushing the wave to create pressure, you should be looking to make plays. Grab boxes, camps, or centers to push your advantage, and just try to deny the enemy any souls that you can. Also, you shouldn't be afraid to brawl a little during this time, as long as it's serving an inherent purpose, like trying to invade and deny the enemy their center sacrifices. You will never grow a lead without some risk, and making mistakes and failing sometimes is how you learn to be a better player. At around the 10-minute mark is when you'll start seeing the game open up a bit more. Anyone who has won their lane will start to roam, the bridge buff respawns, and 2 other important objectives spawn into the game as well, the soul urn and mid boss. Also, if you're in the mid lane, you should aim to take the boxes underneath, as these often give you even more than a sinner's typically. In this transition period from the laning stage into the mid game, keep your eye on the map and keep your lanes pushed. If you do not see many enemies on the map, assume they're close by. Always keep in mind efficiency. The more efficient you are, the easier it will be to gain a lead. So, what exactly changes from the laning stage to the mid game? Well, most obviously, you will see a lot more heroes become more active and move around the map more. And here's where your goals kind of differ depending on the strengths of the hero you're playing. If you're playing a carry hero like Wraith, then you should aim to stick more to a solo lane, preferably a side lane, and push your lane as you farm backwards, and then look to be more active once you hit your power spikes. An example of this would be to call for your teammate to go roam once the mid game is starting so that you can gain an advantage of souls over the enemy. Keep in mind efficiency and aim to push your lane and then farm backwards. Once you gain enough souls to where you've hit your power spike, which takes getting to know the hero you're playing a little bit, look to be more active on the map and gain control. Push objectives, gank lanes, punish enemy mistakes. No matter what role you're playing, most of the mid game is about playing to the strengths of your hero, which takes some getting used to since you have to play games in order to find those strengths. If you'd be interested in videos where I take an in-depth look at specific heroes and how to play them, or even just how to play around your power spikes, let me know in the comments below. But by the mid game, the main goals are to be efficient, put pressure on the enemy, and take objectives whenever possible. If you have an advantage, look to make plays on the map, like running the soul urn or taking mid boss, as these will push your advantage even further. But what should you do if you are behind? Well, don't rage quit because the game isn't lost yet. Deadlock has built-in comeback mechanics where you gain up to 30% more souls from absolutely everything. And if you are more than 10% behind in souls against the enemy team, drop whatever you're doing and run the soul urn. This is by far the best comeback mechanic in the game, and so you should utilize it because it only gets more powerful as the game progresses. This allows you to buy some more items and catch up to the enemy team. Just don't ruin it by getting picked off out of position. Instead, aim to take favorable fights centered around any advantages your team may have. Once the enemy makes a mistake and you're ahead, take the other big objective, mid-boss, as this can literally be your win condition. This is where the game slowly transitions into the late game. The late game is a little different because you will definitely have games where you don't even reach the late game. In this stage of the game, your economy matters less and the advantages and disadvantages you've accumulated throughout the match matter way more. You should still aim to get stronger and upgrade into better items, but this is where your mistakes and the enemy's mistakes matter the most. One death leads to an absolute massive respawn timer of over a minute long, and you should aim to capitalize on this through mid-boss primarily, as this will be your win condition at the end of the game. One death is all it takes to decide this stage of the game. But now that we've gone over the economy of the whole game, let's talk about some of the biggest and most common mistakes that I see over the course of the game and how to fix them. Most of these mistakes are economy related, but I included some that aren't just because of the frequency that I see them in Deadlock. First up, not running the soul urn. I know I have talked a lot about the soul urn in this video, but I'm going to continue to go on about it since I see it ignored way too much. Just because a couple urn plays do not work out doesn't mean you should ignore this. Go to a side lane, push the wave into their walker so the enemy is forced to respond to it, and then start running the soul urn. If the heat becomes too much, retreat into your base and deny the enemy the soul urn. There are so many opportunities and plays that the soul urn can make possible, so get creative and run it more often, whether you're ahead or behind. Next, stop worrying so much about your KD. I see so many players worried about dying and assume they're playing badly after some deaths. Dying is a natural part of Deadlock, and if you don't have a couple deaths, then chances are you're not taking enough risks. This is because objectives matter a lot in Deadlock. They're how you make progress on the map and allow you to take more map control. So as long as your deaths are serving a purpose, you're still providing value to the team. Building on the last point a little, being too passive. Making aggressive plays and making mistakes is how you learn. So don't spoil your fun of learning by being too scared and never doing anything risky at all. Greed a little for that kill. Make a risky play to kill the enemy walker. You're never going to get better by never putting yourself in the position to learn. Last but not least, not pushing waves enough. Trooper waves are so important for your economy. They give you souls, so any waves you miss means that those souls are gone forever. But they also create pressure on the map. Pressure is important in Deadlock because it's how you make plays. Too many people ignore their waves in favor of farming the jungle or doing almost anything else on the map. Instead, push your wave into the enemy objectives and then make your play. This forces the enemy to respond, and if they don't, well, then they lose their objective. The reverse is also true. If the enemies are pushing their waves into your objectives, then it makes it so much harder for you to accomplish anything around the map. But that's all from me. If you got better by watching this video, then leave a like and comment. Also, check the description for some helpful videos for you to watch next on your journey to become a better Deadlock player. As well, I put some places I've got some useful information when making this video. Thanks for watching.